Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints are going to play their home opener in Jacksonville against the Packers because, of course, they are. Mike Triplett, ESPN.com, good enough to join us to preview that game, talk a little who dat. Mike, thanks as always. How are you?
I'm good. I've done some research. Saints undefeated in their history in home openers in Jacksonville, Florida.
I love it. I thought you were going to say just games in Jacksonville. I'm like, nope. I watched the River City Relay. They definitely have lost there, 100 million%. I hope I didn't just jinx. I don't believe in jinxes, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in jinxes either, but unfortunately, 75% of the listeners will blame us if there's a missed kick. And judging by the fact that the Saints don't actually have a kicker on their current 53-man roster, there is a chance that their kicker could have issues during the game.
I mean, are they going to sign Aldrick Rosas back to the active roster, or they might just go for two every time?
Go for two every time.
Hell
man.
yeah!
Let's go. Let's spice things up.
I love it, man. Let's do it. I'm for it. I would love to see what that looks like. Hey, do you think, you've covered this team for a long time, as closely as anyone. Do you think the whole displacement makes a difference this week?
Not necessarily. Honestly, their history is really positive. They spent a whole week in Indianapolis in very similar circumstances before a hurricane. I should know the year right off the top of my head. It was a few years. What was that? 2008? Something like that, maybe?
That was Gustav, wasn't it?
Gustav.
Yeah.
Help me out here with my hurricane history. But they came home and they won that game. Last year they were really struggling before they spent a whole week in Seattle right after, or 2 years ago after Drew Brees broke his thumb, and they spent that whole week kind of corralled together in Seattle. They won that week. They've taken their whole team to London a couple of times. They won both those games. And Sean Peyton actually kind of likes the focus that comes with putting the team together like that, the college-style, training camp style. And he said it again this year, that he thinks oftentimes in that situation there's actually more focus instead of less focus. Now, there's a limit to that. I covered the 2005 Saints and just did a 15-year remembrance story, and that thing spiraled really fast and got old quick. So they'd like to come back soon. But as for how it'll just affect them in week one, I think it's something they could potentially rally around.
Mike, they're not going to have Bradley Roby, but they will have Desmond Trufant there. I know you and I have talked so much this offseason about the cornerback position. As they're here on the doorstep of the opener, how do you assess what that position group looks like?
Man, it doesn't look that bad all of a sudden, right? We were convincing ourselves, or I was trying to convince you that there could be worse things in the world than Ken Crawley and Paulson Adebo, who were obviously going to be a big question mark, but not a total disaster. And now you add Desmond Trufant to that, and you add, obviously, Bradley Roby to that. That actually looks like real NFL depth all of a sudden. It'll still be a question mark in this game, though. Ken Crawley has missed the first 2 days of practice. Desmond Trufant just showed up. Bradley Roby can't play until next week. So we might see Paulson Adebo or Desmond Trufant in the starting lineup, and we will definitely see Aaron Rodgers unabashedly targeting whoever that player might be.
So how do those matchups go when you look at we know Devontae Adams and what he is, but that's Lattimore. So what about the rest of the secondary against those receivers, the other receivers from Green Bay?
Well, look, the rest of the secondary is the best reason to feel positive about. We've been going over the number 2 outside cornerback position with a fine-tooth comb, and justifiably so. That's a very important position in the NFL. But overall secondary, this team is really deep. We love Marcus Williams at free safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson as the nickel safety, who is basically a cornerback. Mm-hmm. Malcolm Jenkins as the other safety, T.J. Williams as a fourth safety who has played that nickelback spot, Marshawn Lattimore as a true number 1 corner. Their secondary as a whole is a strong unit, but that same secondary was pretty strong, and Aaron Rodgers picked them apart and even got the best of Lattimore a couple times with Alan Lazard last year. So Green Bay, they don't have Pro Bowlers throughout their receiving core, but they have a lot of solid guys, including Lazard, Marcus Valdez-Scantling has drawn a lot of buzz this summer. They brought back Randall Cobb at Rodgers' request. They've got a solid tight end in Robert Tonyan. They've got a lot of guys, and Rodgers is one of those guys who's excellent at finding the open man, much like Drew Brees has been for so long.
Mike, there's another part of this as well. With no David Bakhtiari, Aaron Rodgers, stonewall left tackle isn't there. Does that advantage Saints as far as getting Aaron Rodgers?
Well, it more of an advantage than it would have been with Bakhtiari. Yeah, and in a couple weeks, it's funny that Michael Thomas went on the PUP list, and everybody was, so worried about that. And then Bakhtiari, their Week 1 opponent, Stephon Gilmore, their Week 3 opponent, also on the PUP list. So they got to take those advantages where they can get them. Now, this is one I half-heartedly tried to sell you on Ken Crawley. I will 3/4-heartedly try to sell you on Marcus Davenport. I actually think
you don't need to sell me.
Really
Mike. I'm way more bullish on Marcus Davenport and have been than most people because when he's been healthy, he's been really good. The question is just keeping him healthy.
Yeah, that is true. Although my only qualifier to that, even though I'm the one about to sing his praises, is I was very surprised he disappeared in the second half of last season because when he came back from his injury last year, he started so strong in his first 2-3 games back, and then was really quiet over the last 7-8 games last season, and that surprised me a little bit because he was healthy. But now he's got fully healthy off-season, fully healthy preseason, and he looked great during that preseason. I'm really bullish on him. Obviously, Cam Jordan, big questions at defensive tackle, but Peyton Turner back healthy. So I think they have a chance to be pretty good there. Their defensive line has been the strength of this defense for so long, plus DeMario Davis in the front seven and the run defense. I absolutely think they can make a difference there, but they're not gonna rattle Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be a deer in the headlights or anything.
Is Peyton Turner healthy?
He's back this week. Yeah, he's back. He's been practicing this week.
So we're expecting him to be a full go inside and outside?
Yeah, I mean, he missed so much training camp time that could affect the snaps they decide to give him. But I absolutely, so I guess theoretically, since they have 5 defensive ends on their active roster, the one position where they have an abundance of riches, I guess it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if we saw him as a Week 1 inactive if they're still getting him back up to speed. But sooner or later, I expect him to be part of that defensive end rotation. Yeah.
Couple more minutes with Mike Triplett, ESPN.com, on Twitter at Mike Triplett. All right, let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball, and I will get to special teams. But Jameis is going to make his first start. All right, so what is a realistic expectation? I can't believe we're this deep in, and I'm going to ask a quarterback question. But
I know.
But it just goes to show you that really wasn't the question this offseason. We all debated it so much. What is a realistic expectation of Jameis? If you want to do stat line or performance or what are you realistically expecting?
I mean, realistic expectation is a tough question because really it goes so many different directions. It's unbelievable. I think crazy enough, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's the #1 overall draft pick. He's done a lot of good things. We all think of the 30 interceptions first and foremost, and I don't believe that is going to be the number that sinks him and the Saints this year. I don't think the offense is going to be run that way. I don't think he's going to play the position that way. I don't think we're going to see just this embarrassment of turnovers that sabotages the Saints. I think we'll see him every once in a while because he's a risk-reward guy. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll like watching that. I mean, I think we'll like the way he aggressively pushes the ball down the field. He probably had less than 5 interceptions in all of training camp and the preseason combined. He did check down to the running back a lot. He did throw it away a lot. He did check down to the tight end a lot. So I think the best expectation is that he has combined, learning how to avoid trouble, but keeping the aggression. That means he's going to take his shots down the field, and I think it could be an exciting combination. Obviously there's going to be some games where he just doesn't have it. He does have 2 or 3 turnovers, but I think there's going to be some games where he has one or zero turnovers and two or three like great passes. And I think he's always going to give them a fighting chance, especially even if they're trailing in games, because he can push it downfield in a hurry.
Mike, you can't say Marquez Callaway.
Okay.
Who is the offensive weapon? The unknown. Okay. So you can't say Alvin Kamara.
I can't say Alvin Kamara.
No. The unknown that you're most interested to see on Sunday.
I love how you call. You say Marquez Callaway does not count as an unknown anymore. He's already identified himself as a sure thing.
But we haven't seen. Well, that's fair,
right,
but that's the answer everybody's going to give. So aside from him, that's why I asked it the way I did.
Well, unfortunately, the name I would have said is Tre'Quan Smith, who returned to practice Wednesday. And I was going to say, hey, everybody, don't forget that this was supposed to be their number one receiver this year, and he spent all that time working with Jameis Winston, and this is his opportunity to have the best year of his career. But then he misses practice again today. So I don't even know if we're going to see Tre'Quan Smith this week. So I'll go to another obvious answer, which is Dewan Johnson. I'm really curious. He has tested my instincts as much as maybe any summer training camp breakout we've ever seen. He looked so good in every practice and in the preseason games. And I just can't believe he's going to be as good as he looked in those games. And I'm wondering, is this my Emmanuel Butler, who I could never stop believing was going to be really good, or is this the next Willie Snead, Chris Ivory, Marquez Callaway that's really going to make a difference on this team? And I actually lean toward the latter. Adam Truman is back healthy, so it won't just be the Dewan Johnson show, but I think he's very much going to be a part of the team. And then another one, because we were talking about Jameis' ability to get the ball downfield, this is the third year in a row we've been talking about the Saints getting Deontay Harris more involved on offense. But now that Jameis Winston is a guy who likes to throw it deep down the field, and that's another guy that he spent time working with this offseason, I don't think it's going to happen every week, but there are definitely going to be some weeks where there is a big Deontay Harris moment or a big Deontay Harris game.
New kicker, new punter.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can't say enough good things about Thomas Morstead, but we haven't really worried about the punter position because Gillikin, he came so highly regarded last year and looked so good in training camp. I don't think anyone's worried about him being able to fill those enormous shoes. But, yeah, kicker's a big question mark. Rosas missed the extra point in his one preseason game. He hasn't been here very long. If he's the guy, every field goal will be grit your teeth and hope he knocks it through. He's had great years in the past. He was a Pro Bowler who beat out Will Lutz for the Pro Bowl one year. You just want him to hopefully be an 80% guy and you live with the misses.
Just go for two.
Yeah, or just go for two. That'd be more exciting anyway.
I'm down. All right, man. Do you think are you going to do like a prediction column or anything? Like, do you think they have a shot? It's the NFL, of course they have a shot, but I mean, should we just expect an L in this one and then just,
No.
Okay.
I picked Green Bay to win, but I also, Green Bay is my pick to go to the Super Bowl for the NFC this year. So it's a really tough week one home game in Jacksonville to start with. If they were playing Carolina like they're going to play in week two, if they were hosting the New York Giants instead, I would have picked the Saints to win in week one. I don't think the cards are so stacked against them they can't win their week one game. I just think Green Bay's really good.
He is Mike Triplett. He's really good, too. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, and you can read his stuff at ESPN.com. You're welcome. He's also really good at Mad Libs as well. Maybe sometime whenever the wind blows a certain way, you and I can do another game of Mad Libs at some point here, but probably not during the season. Maybe during the bye week. Know. Yeah, open date, the bye week. Maybe that would be a good time to do it. Maybe week 6. See if we can make it work. An NFL Mad Libs. All right, Mike. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.